Hey everyone, so Archero 2 is finally here, and if you've played the first game, you know it's a whole new ballgame. The skills you loved before, yeah, some of them work differently now, and there are plenty of new ones to try out. It can feel a little overwhelming at first, but don't worry, we've dived into everything so you don't have to. In this video, we're breaking down the ultimate Archero 2 tier list for skills. We'll show you which ones are absolute game changers, which ones are fun but situational, and which ones you might want to skip entirely. So grab your gear, get ready to experiment, and let's figure out the best builds together. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking skills in Archero 2. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The skills in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Aqua Flight, Slow Field, Fountain of Life, Heart of Vitality, Warrior's Heart, Lucky Heart, Wounded Warrior, Riposte Strike, Perilous Recovery, Flame Meteor Potion, Venom Meteor Potion, Lightning Meteor Potion, Restore HP, Burning Path, and Strength Blood. You know those moments in Archero 2 where you pick a skill and immediately regret it? Yeah, welcome to the D tier, the why did I even bother section of skills. Let's dive into the ones you should really avoid unless you're feeling extra adventurous or extra unlucky. Aqua Flight. Let's just be honest, Aqua Flight is basically dead weight. It doesn't do anything remotely useful, and honestly, it's one of the worst skills in the entire game. Save yourself the headache and skip it. Slow Field. Sure, it can help a tiny bit against tracking enemy projectiles, but the slowing effect barely matters 99% of the time. If you're expecting miracles, Slow Field is going to disappoint you hard. Fountain of Life. Extra health sounds nice, right? Except in Archero 2, extra health from Fountain of Life is the least useful stat you could possibly get. Trust me, it barely moves the needle. Heart of Vitality. Speaking of useless health boosts, Heart of Vitality falls into the same trap. That extra hit points just won't save you when you actually need it. One of the worst skills, hands down. Warrior's Heart Up. A small attack power boost might seem tempting, but the chance of it actually activating is so low that it's almost laughable. Honestly, Warrior's Heart feels like a cruel joke. Lucky Heart Up. More health, again, and now you also get a tiny chance to get it? Not exactly thrilling. Lucky Heart's extra hit points are too insignificant to matter, making this skill another pass. Wounded Warrior. Okay, if you already have sustain and don't mind taking hits on purpose, Wounded Warrior could have a niche use. But for most of us, it's just a skill that forces you to get hurt to get any value. Pain for no gain. Riposte Strike. The title says it all. Riposte Strike is the worst strike skill in Archero 2. The damage boost is so minimal that you might as well be swinging at thin air. 0 points in practical usefulness. Perilous Recovery. The idea here is nice. You get sustain, but the value is questionable at best. Most of the time, the healing you get won't make a difference at all. You're better off picking literally anything else. Flame Meteor Potion. Meteor potions in general? Disappointing. Flame Meteor Potion is no exception. All damage per second Meteor Potions are garbage, and this one's no different. Venom Meteor Potion. And just in case you thought Flame Meteor was a fluke, here comes Venom Meteor Potion to remind you that Meteor Potions do almost nothing. Seriously, don't waste a slot. Lightning Meteor Potion. Lightning Meteor Potion rounds out the trio of disappointing Meteor Potions. High hopes, low payoff. If DPS is what you're after, look elsewhere. Restore hit points. Sometimes you pick Restore hit points because you have no other choice, and that's about it. It's not terrible, but it's also not exciting or worth prioritizing. Burning Path. The effect damage on Burning Path is laughably low. It doesn't give you extra stats, and ranged enemies will laugh at it. Basically, you're walking down a path of disappointment. Strength Blood. If you're hunting for the worst stat boost in Archero 2, congratulations, you found it. Strength Blood does almost nothing. Just don't pick it, seriously. The skills in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Rotating Web, Soul of Strength, Wall Piercing Arrow, Weapon Enchantment, Rapid Fire Meteors, Super Frost, Blitz Strike, Short Range Strike, Bomb Sprite, Charged Arrow, Cloud Footed, Abundant Potion, Lightning Sprite, Venom Sprite, Flame Sprite, Strike Potion, Breath of the Wind, Ice Spike Sprite, Vampiric Circle, Demon Recovery, Warrior's Breath, Demon Slaying Meteor, and Fairy's Breath. Ever feel like you're picking skills in Archero 2 and thinking, this might be okay, maybe? Welcome to C tier, where things aren't totally hopeless, but don't get your hopes up too high. Let's break it down. Rotating web. Rotating web helps a bit with mobs, which is nice if you're surrounded, but let's be real, the bonus damage per second is basically garbage. One of the worst legendary skills overall. It's more of a crowd control accessory than a real damage tool. Soul of Strength. This one is painfully simple. Soul of Strength gives the most worthless stat increase you could ask for. Legendary in name only, it's officially the worst legendary skill in the game. Wall Piercing Arrow. Wall Piercing Arrow can come in clutch if you don't already have a charge skill, but if your weapon or another skill already has Pierce, it's absolutely useless. Epic Utility, more like Epic Disappointment. Weapon Enchantment. Weapon Enchantment lets you damage enemies while moving, which sounds amazing, until you remember the negative effects are too bad to justify it. One of the worst epic damage per second skills you could pick. Rapid Fire, Meteors. Doubles your meteor damage per second, but here's the catch, meteors are bad in general, and if you don't have Meteor Pursuit, this skill does absolutely nothing. Sad Trombone. Super Frost. Adds extra damage at the end of a freeze, but in terms of epic damage per second skills, it's the worst elemental buff. Nice in theory, useless in practice. Blitz Strike. Blitz Strike is slightly better than Strike Potions, but that's like saying a puddle is better than a mud puddle. Don't pick it unless there's literally nothing else available. Short Range Strike. Free damage per second if you're running a knuckle or claw circling orb build, but it destroys your range damage. So, basically, only for niche builds, and even then, consider carefully. Bomb Sprite. Bomb Sprite gives a solid DPS boost for sprite builds, but sprites themselves aren't that great. Elemental sprites generally outperform this one, so think twice. Charged Arrow. Charged Arrow can be good when paired with other charge skills or as a source of Pierce, but on its own, it's the worst charge skill in the game. The slower attack speed really kills its potential. Cloud-Footed. Cloud-Footed gives extra movement speed, which is always nice, but the pushback passive isn't relevant most of the time. Decent, but don't expect miracles. Abundant Potion. Boosts invincibility and frenzy potions, which is great if you use those, but otherwise it's pretty irrelevant, rarely worth picking with all the other strong skills around. Lightning Sprite, useful if you're going all in on sprite builds, but sprites aren't great overall, and Lightning Sprite might just be the worst of the bunch. Venom Sprite. Venom Sprite gives consistent bonus damage per second, but Venom doesn't stack like Burn, and overall, the damage isn't that impressive. Good effort, but falls short. Flame Sprite. Flame Sprite is actually the best Fine Sprite damage per second skill. Burn stacks can deal massive damage over time, especially to bosses, but outside of full sprite builds, it's not worth it. Strike Potion. Offers a bit of extra DPS for strike builds, but you have to pick up potions to trigger it. One of the worst strike skills, sadly. Breath of the Wind. Extra speed is always welcome, but with so many better skills available, and the fact that you rarely need the extra movement speed, it's a nice but not necessary pick. Ice Spike Sprite. The freeze it provides is actually good utility, and you don't need a sprite build to use it. Damage wise, it's the worst sprite skill, and having ice on your main weapon is usually better. Vampiric Circle. Vampiric Circle gives survivability if you have a circle build, but the healing is weak unless you've got circle buffs. Worst circle damage per second skill in general. Demon Recovery. Can help with sustain if you can't dodge and are struggling against mobs, but here's the honest truth. Just dodge. Against bosses, it's completely useless. Warrior's Breath. Extra damage is always nice, but the bonus damage modifier isn't significant enough to be a game changer. Decent filler, nothing more. Demon Slaying Meteor. Helps with mob clearing, which is fun, but against bosses, absolutely useless. And we've already established meteors are generally disappointing. Fairy's Breath. Extra attack speed is always welcome, but the bonus attack speed modifier isn't that big of a deal. Useful, but not amazing. The skills in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Sprite King, Super Meteor, Circling Laser Orb, Laser Sprite, Sprite Frenzy, Enchanted Strike, Super Lightning, Giant Strength, Meteor Pursuit, Energy Ring, Instant Strike, Sprite Boost, Underworld Warrior, Angelic Shelter, Lucky Band-Aid, Perilous Fervor, Fairy of the Wind, piercing arrow, ricocheting arrow, frenzy potion, fire circle, thunder circle, venom circle, backward arrow, bouncing arrow, and pursuit strike are B tier. The not terrible but don't get too excited section of Archero 2 skills. These are the ones that can help you, but usually only if everything lines up just right. Let's break it down. Sprite King. Sprite King gives a solid damage per second boost for sprites, but here's the catch. Sprites aren't that great overall. Legendary? Maybe. Useful? Only in very niche builds. Super Meteor. Super Meteor can help clear mobs, which is okay-ish, but there are far better legendary skills to choose. And let's face it, meteors are generally really bad, so don't expect fireworks. Circling Laser Orb. Circling Laser Orb is a solid circle skill with decent damage per second even at range. That said, Flame Circle just outshines it, so it's more of a second best pick. Laser Sprite. Laser Sprite is one of the best sprites you can pick, great for clearing mobs and even has decent boss damage. But again, sprites in general aren't that amazing, and Flame Sprite will outdamage it with the right setup. Sprite Frenzy. Sprite Frenzy is arguably one of the best sprite skills in the game, offering extra attack power and attack speed, but only if you have enough other sprite skills. Without a full setup, it's underwhelming. Enchanted Strike. Enchanted Strike is amazing if you have a full strike loadout. The extra boss damage can be massive if you've got Flame on your main weapon. Without a full strike setup though, pretty much useless. Super Lightning adds extra lightning damage per second and chains to help clear mobs. Works great if you have lightning skills, but let's be real, lightning is the worst DPS element, so temper expectations. Giant Strength. Giant Strength gives some nice damage per second stats, but the survivability is lower, and the slower movement speed makes dodging much harder. Good in theory, risky in practice. Meteor Pursuit, one of the best meteor skills in the game. If you're going for meteors, and yes, meteors are still generally garbage, use with caution. Energy Ring increases projectile size, which is great for mobs and can be overpowered when paired with charge skills. Against bosses though, the lower damage makes it suboptimal, so combo it wisely. Instant Strike, solid damage per second boost for strike builds, and it works while moving, which is nice. Still, Assault Strike outshines it in terms of pure DPS. Sprite Boost, a very good DPS buff for sprites, but if you don't have enough sprites, it's useless. Sprites are just not great in general, so choose carefully. Underworld Warrior helps you get better skills sooner at the cost of maximum health, and the damage multiplier is nice, but it's super RNG dependent, so sometimes you get lucky, other times, not so much. Angelic Shelter. Invincibility can be a lifesaver during bullet hells, but honestly, if you can dodge, you don't need this. And invincibility potions are usually better. Lucky Band-Aid gives extra luck and clears projectiles, which can save you in sticky situations. If you're good at dodging though, you'll barely notice it. Perilous Fervor. Great buffs when you're low on health, especially with the Helix character. Doesn't do much if you're always at max HP though, so it's a situational pick. Fairy of the Wind. Extra attack speed and movement speed is always welcome, but the stat bonuses aren't high enough to beat most rare skills. Nice, but not game-changing. Piercing Arrow. Excellent utility if you don't have Pierce from another skill or weapon, otherwise it's completely useless. Utility only, no damage bonus. Ricocheting Arrow. Helps with mob clearing, which is useful, but it's useless against bosses. Other skills do mob clear better, so only pick it if nothing else fits. Frenzy Potion. Extra attack speed and critical chance is great for DPS and utility. Duration is a bit short and bosses rarely drop it, but it's still solid for general gameplay. Fire Circle. The best circle skill for DPS, especially for bosses. The downside? You have to stand in melee to continuously apply it, which is risky. Thunder Circle. Solid DPS from a circle skill, but weaker than Fire Circle. It's a decent fallback, but low priority if you have better options. Venom Circle. One of the better circle damage per second skills. Poison lasts until the enemy dies, making it solid for sustained damage, but Fire Circle outperforms it for burst and stacking burn. Backward Arrow can provide extra damage if paired with Bouncing Arrow or Tracking Eye, but otherwise it's literally useless. The mob DPS boost is negligible. Bouncing Arrow helps with diagonal projectile damage if you don't have Tracking Eye, or with pierce projectiles. Without those setups, it's underwhelming. Pursuit Strike, solid strike skill for dealing with mobs, but completely useless against bosses. Assault Strike is way better overall. The skills in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Energy Beam, Double Strike Swords, 80k increase, Wind Blessing, Diagonal Arrows, Strike Boost, Super Flame, Super Venom, Super Circle, Stand Strong, Invincibility Potion, Frost, Lightwing Arrow, Lucky Cracker, Flame, Demon Slayer, Frost, Venom, Bolt, Assault Strike, and Bane of Bosses. Welcome to a tier, the heck yes pick this section of Archero 2. These are the skills that can make or break your run, and honestly, you'll be thrilled to grab most of them. Energy Beam. Energy Beam is one of the best charge skills in the game. Pair it with other charge skills and your total damage per second skyrockets. Just remember, it only becomes truly insane if you've got a full charge skill setup. Double Strike Swords. This skill effectively doubles your strike damage per second, making it the best strike skill in the game. Non-strike builds though, totally useless. Attack increase. A flat damage boost is always welcome, and this works for any build. It's not specialized like some epic skills, but a little extra damage never hurts. Wind Blessing. Wind Blessing is all about survivability. Perfect if you're struggling with dodging, but don't expect it to boost your damage per second at all. Diagonal Arrows. 2 extra projectiles may not sound like much, but that's a huge damage boost. Amazing for clearing mobs and can be overpowered with support skills, but against bosses, you need Bouncing Arrow or Tracking Eye for it to shine. Strike Boost. 50% extra strike. Damage is massive. One of the top strike skills in the game. If you're going strike, this is a must-have. For non-strike builds though, skip it. Double Strike Swords is still better. Super Flame buffs your burn damage per second massively and is one of the best elemental utility skills. Burn is great on bosses, making this extra deadly. Just make sure you have a burn source. Super Venom. Similar to Super Flame but for poison. Massive boost to poison damage per second, but useless if you don't have a poison source. Stack it right and it's terrifying. Super Circle. One of the top circle skills in the game, provides huge DPS boosts for circle builds, though if you're not going circle, it's underwhelming. Fire Circle can sometimes outperform it with elemental buffs. Stand Strong. Boosts your damage massively at range, perfect for non-knuckle or claw builds. In a bullet hell though, it loses some value, and knuckle/claw builds won't benefit much. Invincibility Potion. One of the best utility skills in the game. Extra survivability can save you in sticky situations. Sometimes though, you'd rather have raw damage instead. Swift Arrow. Extra attack speed makes up for the slightly lower damage and works well with stackable effects. Just be aware that smaller projectiles might make mob clearing trickier. Lightwing Arrow. A top tier charge skill. Boosts damage and projectile size and combos insanely well with other charge skills. Needs a charge skill setup to be truly OP. Lucky Cracker. Extra luck makes getting all the best skills easier, and the dodge can save your life in tough runs. No extra damage though, and late game pickup is less impactful. Flame boosts boss damage massively, burn stacks increase with attack speed, and it's the best elemental attack modifier in the game. Needs Super Flame to hit maximum potential. Demon Slayer. Excellent for mob DPS, one of the best rare skills for clearing waves quickly. Against bosses, totally useless. Frost. Great elemental attack modifier for utility, boosting survivability a lot. Doesn't add extra DPS, but it keeps you alive in tough spots. Venom. Solid source of extra damage per second, better than Bolt in DPS. Needs Super Venom to really shine, but it's a strong pick if paired correctly. Bolt adds bonus damage to all projectiles. Pretty solid even without Super Lightning, but overall weaker than Flame and Venom. Assault Strike. The ultimate fine strike skill. Core for strike focused builds with insane damage per second increases. If you're not going full strike, it's underwhelming. Bane of Bosses. Boosts boss damage and also heals you, making it one of the best fine skills in the game. Works with any build, which is always a nice bonus. The skills in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Rapid Fire, Sacred Protection, Power Trio, Corrosive Field, Beam Strike, Warrior's Soul, Revive, Tracking Eye, Soul of Swiftness, Front Arrow, Circling Orbs Boost, and Long Range Power. S tier, the take it immediately or cry later section of Archero 2. These are the absolute best skills that can carry your run if you grab them. Let's go through them one by one. Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire is one of the best skills in the game. It gives an excellent damage per second boost for your main weapon attacks. Sure, it lowers your attack speed slightly, but that small penalty is nothing compared to the raw firepower you get. Sacred Protection. Sacred Protection is top-tier defensive utility. It can save your run in tight situations. Honestly, if you're good at dodging, you might not need it, but if you're struggling to survive, this skill is a lifesaver. Power Trio. Power Trio stacks insane stat boosts, and the more other boosts you have, the more powerful it becomes. It doesn't offer extra utility, but when it comes to raw stats, it's a beast. Corrosive Field. Corrosive Field shines for close-range builds, especially with circling orbs or claw and knuckle weapons. If you're running anything else though, it can feel underwhelming. Perfect for melee specialists. Beam Strike. Beam Strike provides insanely good damage per second without needing any other skills to shine. The lasers pierce enemies, making it one of the best strike skills in the game. If you're not focusing strike, the damage might get outscaled though. Warrior's Soul. Warrior's Soul is a straightforward raw damage boost. It doesn't give utility, but when it comes to pure damage per second, it's incredibly strong. Revive. Revive is downright overpowered. One of the best utility skills in the game. It can literally save your run single-handedly. Pick it, treasure it, thank it. Tracking Eye. Tracking Eye makes almost all suboptimal main weapon skills good. It's one of the best utility skills in the game, turning average setups into something deadly. Soul of Swiftness. Soul of Swiftness is insane for DPS. Attack speed buffs increase your damage massively, while the extra movement speed helps you dodge attacks, one of the absolute best epic skills. Front Arrow. Front Arrow is a no-brainer, one of the best main weapon skills in the game. Grab it whenever it shows up. Seriously, it's that good. Circling Orbs Boost. Circling Orbs Boost is one of the best Circling Orb skills. Even if you don't have a ton of Circling Orb skills, it still pays off massively. Just note, if you're not running circle builds, it's useless. Long Range Power. Long Range Power is arguably the best find skill in Archero 2. Insane damage boost at range makes bosses cry, and it works for any build. Close range players might not feel its full power, but at range, unstoppable. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.